Hey, thank you so much for tuning in to Instrumental Intel. I am your host, music producer Chickwood Beats, and I'm glad that you're here with me. Today's episode is special. It is the 100th episode of Instrumental Intel. Can't believe it's been that many, but I'm excited to be bringing this episode to you. It's got music industry news, instrumentals by me for your inspiration, and later I'll be joined by Phire, who was my very first guest on the first episode, so it's going to be a great time. And before I go ahead and drop that first beat, I gotta give a shout out to my home station, Grander Radio out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. And with that, let's go. I'm music producer Chick with Beats, back with the Music Biz Brief as promised. First up, the dispute between Chance the Rapper and his former manager, Pat the Manager, focused on a $3.8 million claim that was tied to unpaid work and a disputed sunset clause that would have given the manager 15% of the net profits on all revenues generated by CTR, Cool Pop Merch, and CTR Touring. Testimony highlighted operational issues like 24,000 unfulfilled merch orders in 2019 and allegations that the manager sought equity in Chance's recordings through United Masters without clearly communicating it, raising concerns about transparency, contract clarity, and manager accountability. So, the lesson to be learned, make sure you get it in writing. No matter how close you are at the time of everything going down, stuff can always go south. Native Instruments has officially entered formal insolvency. CEO Nick Williams says the company is looking for new shareholders and has already seen interest from several audio and tech buyers, hinting at a potential sale. All software, platforms, and customer support remain fully operational, and Williams thanked artists, partners, and the community for their ongoing support. At this present moment, this is all the information that I have regarding this. I know quite a few people have reached out on LinkedIn with more questions, and I'll be sure to fill you in as I get answers. The U.S. Supreme Court unanimously ruled in favor of Cox Communications, limiting when internet providers can be held liable for music piracy on their networks, overturning the previous ruling that was tied to the $1 billion case brought by Sony Music Entertainment. The court said that just providing internet service, even with the knowledge it could be used for infringement, doesn't make a company directly liable, which could reshape how piracy enforcement is handled at the internet service provider level in the future. We'll have to see what happens with this. Apple Music is expanding into concert discovery through a new partnership with Ticketmaster, letting users find nearby shows based on their listening habits and buy tickets directly within the app. The integration adds concert listings across artist pages, a dedicated events section, and notifications for upcoming shows, while also bringing in data from bands in town as part of a broader plan to compete with platforms like Spotify, which has rolled out similar ticketing integrations already. Qit launched a new visitor engagement feature that lets ticketing companies collect fan data during high-demand sales by adding interactive polls, quizzes, and email signups directly into virtual waiting rooms. Early tests across over 2 million interactions showed strong engagement and high completion rates, just kind of showing how capturing zero-party data in real time while fans are actively trying to buy tickets can be more effective than the typical post-event surveys. Something to keep in mind. And finally, Spotify is testing a new artist profile protection feature that lets artists approve releases before they go live, aiming to stop fake AI-generated or misattributed tracks from appearing on their profiles. Currently in beta, the tool adds a manual review step, but also includes a quote-unquote artist key system to streamline approvals to kind of balance protection with the increased workload that this could create for independent artists and small teams, which is actually kind of thoughtful. Alright, that's a wrap for the Music Biz Brief. I'm going to take a quick pause for the cause, and then I'll be back right after this with my special guest, Phire Free. Keep it locked. I'm a chick with beats, multi-genre music producer, and strategist to indie artists and labels. Visit achickwithbeats.com for resources for artists and instrumentals in various genres available for songs, blogs, podcasts, themes, TV, film, commercials, and more. Once again, that's achickwithbeats.com. That's ACHICKWITBEATZ.com. Let's make something happen. Hey, thank you so much for tuning in to Instrumental Intel. I'm your host, music producer, Chick with Beats, and I'm thrilled to say that I have in the virtual building with me Phire, who just happened to be my first guest on the very first episode. And so I'm so delighted that she's willing to come back for episode 100.
Hey.
And to close out Women's History Month. So yeah, take a moment to...
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time out to come back. But yeah, if you could just kind of introduce yourself, let the people know who you are and the very many hats that you wear.
Thank you so much for just allowing me to be in your presence, a chick with beats queen. I am so grateful. And to be honest, I'm just gracious as we watch, as we're watching all the things that we're watching, to be able to be here and to have the wisdom and the knowledge. I am an author and a poet, which is actually how we met, doing shows together, on the road together.
Yes.
Doing the work and coming to the people. And then I'm going to go ahead and say I've over the years I've transitioned into a mother, and in that process I've had to really align into my divine feminine and the femininity of how life has allowed me to grow. And I'm also a mental wellness and health professional with a certification in sexual assault, with an understanding of all of the different challenges and things that impact people around the world. And so with this coming month of April and this leaving month of March, we're going into Black Women's History Month and National Poetry Month, and sexual assault awareness. So this is kind of my time to attune and align into the universe for this period. Which I'm excited about. So
awesome. Yeah, a lot of those things that you mentioned have a lot of crossover in the music industry.
Yes.
Yes. Mental health, sexual assault, like all these things are things that they do these surveys every year to see how things are going, and the statistics stay relatively the same. So it's like, it's great that we have this information. But, the fact that these are all issues that women in the industry deal with is just, yeah. So, it's great that you're taking the time to help people in those facets. So yeah, thanks for what you do.
It's so important. It's actually I am not great. I'm not grateful that all of these things are happening, but I am grateful that people are, that the lid is kind of coming off and everybody's looking and seeing what's actually happening. Yeah. And I hope that as we continue to have these conversations, we also continue to do the work and continue to allow these voices that are now able to be heard, that are no longer drowned out by, masculine toxicity, that we actually allow people to not just be heard, but we actually start taking the time to construct some of those safety measures to uphold some of that brilliance. I can tell you the last 2 years have been absolutely eye-opening for me, in so many ways, and it continues to happen. So, and especially around recognizing and holding space for safety, and even having to do a lot of the work on myself and decolonizing how unsafe the world really has become to femininity. I was actually just writing about it, but so yeah, those are all things that I am excited to kind of discuss and address today.
Okay. Well, since you brought that up and how you're excited to discuss it, one way that I can kind of have a question regarding some of the revelations that you've received. But
Mhm.
have you noticed a lot of times there would be things that kind of go on, like especially with women in hip hop, to where sometimes they pit one era against another, or a certain
Mhm.
style against another. Like, oh yeah, I miss when women could rap with their clothes on, or it sounds something like where a lot of people think, oh, I'm just telling women, they're beautiful as is, da da da. But you never hear that same thing for, the male rappers
Men,
without the shirt. Yeah, exactly.
not at
With the exception
all.
of MF Doom, shout out to him, RIP, with,
Or
he did kind of poke fun at that. But for the most part, you never hear about that unless it's women. And it's like, what do you think the need is to kind of, I don't know, I guess pressure women to conform to one ideal over another?
That's a brilliant question, and it's a strategy. It's so I the power and the strength of colonization, because we've all watched how hip hop became co-opted and absorbed into colonization, and they turned it into this big tool for capital. And so what we're watching now, especially when we see the women being used as attack dogs, and I know that that may not be the best way to put it, but is divide and rule, and it's a way that we watch the feminine in the feminine strength of the power of women kind of get pushed against each other.
Mm-hmm.
And what it is it's a binary, right? Like if your clothes are off, then you're bad. But wait a minute, if
Yeah.
my clothes are on, then I'm good. And at the end of the day, there's no winning, right? It's how the rappers and how the artists are able to express themselves, really. Because remember, fashion is one of the elements of hip hop. Like, why are we allowing people to tell us what it needs to look like?
Mm. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, it's just something that I see it a little bit less these days, but I don't know if
Yeah.
it's because there are fewer people doing it or if I've fine tuned it out of my algorithms. Um,
I mean, it's probably a combination of both, because one of the things that happens is once we get hip to something and we're like, wait a minute, this is the most garbage conversation. Like, why are we doing this? Then they have to switch up tactics. And so one of the biggest ones right now is, support Black women. And it's just the weaponization of the Black femme identity
mhm.
that in every aspect, and it's desperate. So we're seeing it in like support Black women, and at this particular point what we ultimately have to say is like we have to support our vulnerable communities. We have to support, because we're not are we saying that about our disabled communities? Are we saying that about people, our Black women that are not able to be seen as clearly because they have mobility issues, or are not
Yeah.
heard as clearly because they have verbal issues, or because they have audible issues, hearing um, impairments, excuse me,
Yeah.
because they have hearing impairments. And so it's like we're not asking ourselves those critical questions. And so when we start seeing that, and I love the fact that you asked about this, because that means that your initial response is like, why is this so hostile? Like, this shouldn't be a hostile space, right? This is love,
Right.
peace, and you know connection with each other, and having a good time and building our joy together. Like, there should be
Yeah.
no reason why we should be going, well, why is she not wearing any clothes, or why is she wearing no shoes, or girl, you can't, like, we shouldn't be tearing each other down when we're supposed to be lifting each other up.
Right. Right. Yeah, thank you so much for saying that. And just even what you were saying about the different communities within communities and how
Yeah.
important it is to make sure that people aren't overlooked. I mean, I think that that's something that is important to be in so many aspects just of life.
Yes.
um just trying to find the right words and how I'm trying to say this. Like, I feel like some of the importance of music, when people find, especially people who do niche genres or, you know, styles or whatever the case may be. When people connect with that, it's because maybe they find that, you know, they feel that they're unique in this aspect, but once they get to know an artist, like, hey, you're telling my story, I can relate to this. So it's something that I feel like music kind of does inherently, but you don't really see it. And that's typically why music is considered an escape, because our world doesn't really reflect that type of inclusion.
Yes.
Yes. It's a complex thought, but I'm trying to break it down a little simply to where it still actually makes sense. So I hope it does. But
well, you did that beautifully, because I think that's something that we miss because so many people are chasing the colonized, shiny, sexy version of everything, that when you really start talking about like the rugged, rough, gritty parts of life that are not colonized, but the real, you know, elbow grease and work side of life, we're not immediately attuned into that. We're not immediately going like, oh, let me look over there. And a lot of people are going, how did we lose, you know, our connection so deeply? Oh my goodness, I see. This took me to another place. One of the things that's going on is everybody has been judging Black people for saying like, oh, come out to the cookout, or for being excited when people have rhythm. But one of the things that we forget is that a lot of our conversations were through drums and music and rhythm. So when a person can speak that language, it shows the ability to transform outside of, you know, I speak colonizer English, you know. And so when that speaks to us, when we celebrate it, it's not because you can snap your fingers on beat. It's because you have the ability to speak another language. You have the ability to connect with me in ways that I have, that are interconnected outside of, you know, a flat, I'm going to say it, demonized version of life that we've all been force fed for years, decades.
Wow. I never thought about it like that. That's a very interesting point.
I appreciate talking to you so much.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a really great point. Okay, so with that being said, when you had mentioned about how things came in, we were talking specifically about fashion, about the colonization of hip hop, and basically, you know, trying to make sure that it got monetized to almost every aspect that it possibly could. How can I say this? There was a certain era where you began to see that happen. However, I kind of feel like even in present day, it kind of has a snowball effect.
Well, as soon as you said it, it kind of made me think about Nicki, and it was Nicki and Lil Kim, right, for a little bit.
Yeah.
Then they tried to pit her. Then they pit Nicki against everybody, and now Nicki is full on just anti hip hop altogether. Yeah, like she was definitely a tool. And then I think they did Nicki and Megan.
Yep.
And then they did, the most recent one was Nicki. It wasn't most recent, but it was like Nicki and I can't think of her name.
There was
Cardi B.
Yep.
Cardi B. Yep.
And there was somebody else in the mix too. Oh, of course, Remy.
There was Remy. Yes.
Yeah. And I still feel like I'm kind of missing someone else in there too.
Well, because I think they had her, not Sexy Red, but they had her also pitted against somebody else. Like they put her against the new generation, the older our generation. Yeah. They pit Nicki, and Nicki isn't Nicki technically our generation? I don't know, but
she is. That's what's so funny about that. Yeah.
Oh God. So like they basically used Nicki to be, I don't know, like I think they were trying to make her like Madonna, but like, yeah, like it's not the same. Hip hop doesn't respond the same as like mainstream.
Can you break that down a little bit?
I think I was trying to think of somebody that would have had a similar, you know, catty background, but like Madonna kind of had a bad girl reputation commercially or mainstream, no matter where you went. If people there was that period in the 90s when her tour was like the hottest tour in the world, and so everybody had something to say about Madonna, and a lot of it was bad. And so if you think about Nicki, who they've never been able to get her packaged and marketed that intently. They tried to pit her as like this bad girl of hip hop, and then I think they were trying to get her into the beefs to see if her beef would do what her beef against Remy Ma did, and it just never did, because everybody already knows like Nicki was a mess. She was kind of like, I kind of believe that the community was supportive of her, and like we're going to empathize and humanize you type of way. And they didn't understand that that's what was happening until Nicki's humanity has been completely disproven, and now it's just like, yeah, she ain't it.
Well, okay, you talk about the packaging, and man, I'm trying to find the best tactful and politically correct way to say this. But in reality, when she was presented, like, so you see the older videos from before she got famous and saw like the type of style she was on. But then once she was actually packaged and, kind of placed out to the world, she was the culmination of all the female rappers that came before her. Had she been younger doing this, it probably would have just been seen as, I don't know, maybe she didn't know, but to be of the same age group and bracket, so all the different styles that you've borrowed from, and you're not actually paying homage, you just piecemealing it and putting it together and pretending like you created something new. And I feel like that might be why some of that support kind of started waning initially for some people, but like for me, it's like, okay, well, you're doing voices like this, you're dressing like her, like I can see all the similarities in the whole Pink thing. Lil' Kim was calling herself a Barbie long before she got on the scene.
Yeah.
Nicki was old enough to know that, but to pretend like, oh no, you're just tripping, like, whose style you bit. Like I said, had she been younger, fine, you could claim ignorance, but yeah, like, no, you're literally old enough to know better.
Well, okay, so because I'm not defending her, but they did the same thing with Beyonce, right? Like they literally took Beyonce and they pieced all of these stolen styles together, and they couldn't get that off the ground either. But the difference between Nicki and Beyonce was Beyonce, like, I see. All right, I'm gonna say some stuff.
You're gonna have all the hives and everybody on us, but the barbs.
Yes, please, but so basically, in order for Beyonce's career to be launched, they basically pulled neo soul out. We stopped seeing, and it became more difficult to see and find Jill Scott, Erykah Badu, India Arie, all of Amel, all of the neo soul calm artists. They also, one of the things they did was they slowly started slow cycling. So we lost Britney Spears. I don't know if anybody understands how intense it was when they were trying to force Beyonce down everybody's throats. But we lost Britney Spears. Not that I liked her to begin with, but they basically put her whole career through that ridiculous cycle that she can't get out of even now. And they replaced her with Beyonce. And then they started slow cycling and slowly pulling out all the white pop stars. So we weren't seeing Jessica Simpson or Mandy Moore or Kylie Minogue or any of those artists as simply or as easily as we were before they decided to we're gonna hyper commercialize Beyonce. And then And then it became to the point where you couldn't look up without saying Beyonce. And if you wanted to launch an artist, they had to have a Beyonce track like Lady Gaga, which that never should have happened. So, like, if you look back on that era of time, there was so much. That's when music really became noise, and like it became sifting through garbage to try to find your niche, really, because it was all so bad. So if we think about what music had to become to build a Beyonce superstar and to take Michael Jackson like out of the rotation, they did a lot of work. And so they had to, in a way, they kind of lost hip hop, which was their main, source of like manufacturing and one of their biggest prized possessions, because they did so much to take it out of the hands of the people, that when we look and it's like, when you look back on it in retrospect, it's like, oh my God, like that was an entire just dismantling of one of the most beautiful systems the people have built. And out of it, we get like Beyonce and Nicki Minaj and a bunch of artists that do not have the same vocals that they had, prior to the early 2000s.
Yeah. And everything that you just said, I mean, you raised some great points. And all this was also happening around the time that all the labels were buying up the blogs. So you were losing the blogosphere, where you could still kind of find your niche stuff. Like, yeah, all that stuff was very, very coordinated.
The amount of money that they poured into, we're going to have a Beyonce superstar, is like, it's like AI, like, if that and that plan did not succeed, it kind of failed, but out of that, they had to get something, which I mean, they pulled Janet Jackson out of the Super Bowl. Like, I see, I can come from this side, but yes, like, to watch the niche market, the smaller hip hop writing markets, just immediately just flip into everything Beyonce and everything, similar to the sound and the praising. And I'm not I appreciate and respect Solange, but down to praising Solange, who had a number of scandals before, 2000.
Yeah. I was like, I was going to say something about that, but then I was like, perhaps I should be a little careful.
I understand.
But yeah, I mean, you raised some very valid points. Even right before it was well known that some of those smaller blogs were getting snapped up, once you kind of look back on the track record of the people that they were starting to highlight right around that time, those are some of the same people that were accused of being industry plants.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Has it come out? I think some of them, it has come out, right?
Well, I mean, it's always disputed.
Oh,
but,
okay.
Yeah, you can look at the facts and kind of make your own conclusion. So,
right.
Yeah, in my opinion, yes, it's already come out. We all know. Of course, they just say, "Oh no, I'm not an industry plant," and then it just doesn't get brought up again until you're arguing with somebody in the comments on some video that's even just mildly or slightly adjacent to what the original topic was. But yeah, yeah, the machine has been a very interesting thing to witness.
Yes.
So yeah, like, I mean, so it's just snowballed, and you just gave examples to actually confirm what I was thinking. Yeah.
You know what? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I just think about even from, when I was a kid with MTV Raps and Rap City. I mean, there were so many different options, so many different ways to get so much variety, and then to just see it kind of chipped away year after year after year until we are where we are now.
I mean, and then when they decided to try to expand it a little bit, because I don't know if you kept up with the sisters, Chloe, the Bailey sisters, but like
Oh,
Chloe they're both Beyonce's artists. And so they were talking about how Beyonce derailed Chloe's album, which she did.
Hear that.
Yeah, she did a remarkable job promoting and creating a following for her album. And then they tried to say that it was because she depended so much on social media. And it was like social media was carrying Chloe that entire time. But what happened was Chloe was supposed to release a song and ask the audience what they wanted. And I guess at the last minute, Beyonce told her to release another song. And yeah. And then Chloe was like, when the queen tells you, so on and so forth, and of course, there's nothing wrong with respecting the person that is, supporting your career. But at the same time, it was like, that for me, Clink made everything clink, because I'm like, oh wow, like Beyonce being made, the fire engine superstar that she's been made through the machine, still after 20 years, still can't handle having another vocalist with talent in her in like, around her. Like, this is why it's wild. Like, what ego was built? Like, at some point, you can always walk and say, I'm responsible for this music. And even within that moment, she couldn't. You know what I mean? Like, how are you threatened?
Fat Joe's been doing that, riding that wave for years. So yeah.
Bruh.
I'm pretty sure that's only like 90% of the reason why he gets to coast on most of the stuff he gets to coast. Is just because they're like, yeah, everybody's like, thank you for Big Pun. We'll let that slide because thank you for Big Pun. Like,
we are a very forgiving community, bro.
Oh my gosh. I'm still trying to figure out how Rick Ross is still happening. Like,
I don't know.
When do we allow this? But yeah,
I don't know. I'm wondering the same about Drake too. I know, like, we should be mad at Lil Wayne, seriously, but he's still just able to do what he does. Not getting off. Like, sorry.
Hey, hip hop culture, these conversations are a part of it. Culture commentary is necessary, because I mean, look at what happens when it goes unchecked. We get the people that we've just mentioned.
and that's another thing. Oh man, because we gotta gatekeep. Like, we now officially have to gatekeep. So I've been getting into one of the things I do want to work with the youth with is STEP, and utilizing STEP and understanding STEP as communication. And it's really sad because a lot of STEP is aligned and thought of as something that the fraternities and sororities do, which they do, but it's almost like the whole rich history, the wealth of knowledge that goes with it is lost. The power of communication, the strength of being able to connect and to be able to create the conversation around what is going on and the happenings and ways to respond. And so I'm really getting saddened by the fact that, like, for one thing, the one thing that is held within the hip hop community is femininity and the strength within femininity and the strength and the love of rhythm and the communication through rhythm and all of the things that come, from the culture of being able to hold to that communication. And so I am I think that it's important for us to understand, like, gatekeeping and not allowing just everybody to be able to come in to doors that have been closed for a reason.
I think that that's a very interesting point. I know one of my pet peeves, I guess, more so within the last few years, is the difference between hip hop as a culture and rap. And I feel like
Yeah.
more and more people are starting to kind of not really understand that there can be a difference. It's not always a difference, but there can be a difference. And I feel like we
Definitely.
need to be a little bit clearer and actually kind of, start holding more people accountable when
Yes.
it's misused that way.
Absolutely. One of the things I love about the generation before us, and I know there's a lot of things we can say about Gen X, so many, but
We love
they
y'all.
did. Right, like y'all. But they did make sure that we understood that there was a culture and then there was like the products and the package.
Yeah.
And we needed to separate the two. Yes, you're welcome to come in and understand the culture, but don't just take our culture and package it and call yourself a product, like and which we've allowed to happen too much. But we gotta lock that down, because it's at this point, understanding the culture isn't just some terms and words. It's understanding the struggle. Like hip hop was born out of one of the realest struggles.
Yeah.
And that struggle hasn't ended.
Right. Yeah. So it's like the music's for everyone, but the culture isn't.
Right.
There's a difference there, but yeah.
Right. And the culture is created to help people understand that, like, we need you to see us. But
Right.
You can't just see the shiny things and the spectacle and go, oh my gosh, that's so cool. You kind of have to see that there are people who are creating all of the shine, all of the sheen, all of the glamour. And those people need to be able to live and survive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Incredibly well said.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, okay, like our time, I feel like it always goes so quickly. Anytime we get together. But I want to make sure that everyone knows where they can find you, follow you, keep up with what you've got going, website, whatever the case may be. However you want them to keep up with what you've got going on.
Thank you. Yes. So I'm on Substack at Phire, and then there's also Phire Free. They one is Substack. I don't know if Substack automatically starts you with two, but one is a accumulation of my collection of poems. I'm working on my second collection, Commit to Healing, Volume 2, Reclamation. And it's 2 of 3 volumes. It's originally supposed to be 3 volumes. And originally I was going to talk about the process of growth, but now it's becoming the kind of like a reflection on the people's movements. So that's coming. Look out for that. I'm also, you can find me at Phire on IG for now, and I'm at Phire on Upscrolled, and I'm at Phire on Mastodon. It's at Phire, and then phire.com is my website where I do talk about my workbook to bring into mindfulness and presence and awareness is the appropriate way to phrase that.
All right, awesome. Well, maybe can have you come back in time for May for mental health.
I would love to. Awesome. I would love to. Also, I do want to ask you. So I know that you've been really busy and got things going. How are your projects coming?
Well, pretty well. I just released Your Mother's Beats, Volume 1 through Nylon Tracks. So this is something new, because typically I've only released house music through Nylon Tracks. But shout out to James Nylon for having the vision. And he approached me with the idea, title as well, about Black women being the cradlehood, the cradle of creation. And so yeah, like the play on words and what it means, and then the homage to old school vinyl instrumentals and all that good stuff. So yeah, I'm very excited. This is the first time I've ever been a part of something like this, and so for him to put the Nylon Tracks machine behind me has been very special. Thank you for asking about that. Yeah. And also shout out to Ultra Mag, who works very closely with Chuck D and recently had a feature in Rap Central Station, the second issue. He shouted out me and Instrumental Intel, and so it was a good look for the podcast. And so yeah, much appreciative for both Ultra Mag 7 and James Nylon and Nylon Tracks.
That's so dope. Congratulations.
Thank you. All right. So yeah, once again, appreciate you for coming on. Everybody check them out everywhere mentioned. And yeah, thank you. Have you back soon.
Yes, definitely.
All right, that's a wrap for this episode of Instrumental Intel. I've been your host, music producer Chick with Beats. And once again, I'd like to thank my special guest, Phire for coming through with thought-provoking conversation, experience, and gems. I'd like to thank you for tuning in. And of course, I'd like to thank my home station, Grander Radio out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Make sure you come back next week. I got more goodness lined up for you. So, till next time, you know where to find me. Tune in, tell a friend, and I'll see you then. Peace.